20th, 2018. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Bonnie, please.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Here.
Mr. Gottman. Dr. Kalkstein. Mr. Lapsevich.
Here.
Mr. McIntyre.
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell. Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Mrs. Warning.
Here. Before we get to agenda items, can we just maybe take a moment of silence for the students that were lost in the Florida school shooting? Thank you. First up is comments from residents on agenda items. Has anybody signed up to speak, Bonnie?
No one's called in advance now.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak? Mr. Yakum? State your name and
Thank you, Mrs. Cerrucci.
address, please.
My name is John Yakum. I do live in Monroeville. Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Short, Mr. Dice, and members of the staff. My name is John Yakum, and I am a resident, a lifelong resident of Monroeville. Today I'm coming to you with the hat I wear in a volunteer position. I am the president of the Beaver Valley Area Beekeepers Association. That's important because we are a member, we with other beekeeping organizations in western Pennsylvania comprise and organize an event that occurs once a year, which is the Western Pennsylvania Area Beekeepers Seminar. This year, we brought it to Gateway High School. For the last 30 years, it's been in the North Hills. 2 years ago, we brought it to Monroeville at one of the hotels. Last year, through the cooperation of a couple school directors, it was suggested that we bring it to Gateway. And I wanted to give you a little report of our event. We had beekeepers from 5 states, Ohio, West Virginia, Michigan, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. We had beekeepers from Philadelphia, State College, Erie, and everywhere in between. We had researchers from the University of Michigan and Penn State University. We had speakers from Ohio and Pennsylvania. All in all, we had 350 beekeepers here at Gateway. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring the event to Gateway is because I'm a big fan of Monroeville and I'm a big fan of Gateway. And our community is second to none. Unfortunately, our community gets in the newspaper for a lot of the wrong reasons. Well, 350 people saw Gateway for what it is, which is an outstanding facility. They also saw the community for what it is. We had cooperation from several local businesses, restaurants, visitors, the Convention Visitors Bureau, all worked together to help us bring this event to Gateway. The out-of-towners love the staff, love the facility, and the local beekeepers, who oftentimes get their impression about Gateway from the media, were pleasantly surprised to see the facilities that we have. The primary reason for me coming tonight was just to tell you, Dr. Short, and the board about your staff. I dealt directly with Dave, Miko, and Patty Jovanovich. They were outstanding. Every time we asked Miko for something on the event day, he just gave me this look and like, okay, no problem. And 5 minutes later, it happened. We would text him that we were having a small issue with something or another, and within minutes it was fixed. We annoyed the hell out of Dave. We had about 35 vendors, and if you've ever been to shows, you know vendors can be demanding. They want electricity, they need this, they don't like their space. And since we've never used the facility before, we had to be very flexible, and that involved a lot of conversations with Dave, and he was very, very understanding. All of our needs were met. Patty was very great to work with when it came to discussing the, trying to make sure that we had the right room assignments. So all in all, it was an excellent event. We appreciate what happened. We're hoping that we can come back again next year. We will be filing the paperwork shortly, so we can get started next year. I assume that bell was for me? Okay. One suggestion. Obviously, education comes first, and I completely understand that, but there's one thing that's kind of was a little bit of a hurdle, and it's a potential hurdle for other events like ours. Keep in mind that our event probably spent between food, speakers, printing, and facility about $17,000, $18,000. About $7,000 with the facility. There's a policy that says that the event can be changed almost to the last minute to accommodate a gateway event. When you're bringing 350 people into an event, it can be a little bit unnerving to know that if a teacher has to change a band concert, we could get bounced at the very last minute. And as a suggestion, if there's something that you can put into the policies, that once a group has established a contract, that there's a window where, unless it's a earth-shaking educational event, we can't get bounced, because I think that might be keeping out other groups from using these facilities. Again, thank you, your staff is terrific, and I've already taken more time than I'm supposed to, so thanks for the few minutes.
Thanks, Mr. Ritter. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on agenda items? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to Section B, bills and financial reports. Mr. Schott.
Thank you, Mrs. Cerrucci. Before I get to the actual Section B, I just would like to make two related financial announcements. The scheduled Budget and Finance Committee meeting for this Thursday, February 22nd, 2018, has been canceled. The first meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee will occur as previously scheduled on March 15th, 2018 at 6 p.m. in the high school LGI. Again,
Okay.
that's posted at the buildings. This adjustment will be made as well for that. This evening, we have Section B1, list of bills for the month of February 2018. Section B2, monthly financial statements for the month of January 2018. And Section B3, budget transfers for the month of February 2018.
Does anybody have any questions, comments for Mr. Schott?
I do. In reviewing the list of bills, Mr. Schott, the one check number, you know what number I'm about to read to you.
Yep.
88683 for $2,500. That's scheduled to go to the 360 group, correct?
Correct.
And that's for the retainer fee that they made their first request for their
That's
retainer.
would be the very first payment to them.
All right, I'd like to maybe talk to the board about this. We're not contractually obligated in any real way to actually pay that money right now. That contract was never actually submitted nor approved by the board. The board approved hiring the group. The contract itself never came across the board's table. So that contract was never legally ratified or approved by the board. So I would like to maybe just put a hold on it or table that check until we, decide where we're going further on.
We can do that.
Do you want to comment on that, Mr.
Well,
Dice?
you're not voting on them tonight,
No.
correct?
No, not
So
that.
so you
No,
understand, okay.
no, but for fellow board members, Mr. McIntyre is saying that the actual contract with the 360 group was not technically board approved, just the hiring of them was board approved. Is it null and void?
If the contract was not approved by the board, then it's arguable that you have not, Section 508 says any expenditure over $500 requires board approval. I can't remember whether or not the contract was or wasn't approved, but the minutes reflect whatever they reflect. If it has not been approved, then you're correct, that it's voidable. If it has been approved, then you do have a contract of sorts with them. And it appears to me that they've made some attempt in reliance upon the contract to secure potential buyers. At least that's what we've heard. I don't know the names of those individuals. So, you've got a thorny issue at this point, but if your assertion is correct, then you've got a voidable contract, voidable, in that you can disavow it.
I think, Bonnie, I think you were contacted to look, did you ever see anything in the minutes where that was actually submitted or
There's
approved?
no exhibit in the minutes. I can pull the minutes if we'd like to look at them.
Mr. Lepsovich would like to comment.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was on the board, and
I seen the contract afterwards. Scotty Williams and Bill Short both signed that contract, so I think it's binding if the president of the board signed the contract. That's my opinion.
So if the contract wasn't actually seen by the public or the board in its entirety and voted on, then the corrective action is to actually vote on that to correct the issue, because that still doesn't correct the issue if the contract wasn't actually recorded in the minutes as being voted on.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, it was signed by my president.
Yes, that's correct. Anyone else want to comment on this, on the Building and Grounds Committee? Mr. O'Donnell?
You have anything to say?
Anything? Ms. Warning, anything? Anybody? Okay. Paul, you want to continue?
That actually concludes section B.
That's it? Okay,
So, Mary Beth.
go ahead,
So
Mr. Robson.
what was our conclusion on that, about not paying this group of people right now?
Well, you have until the next meeting to discuss it.
To
Since
vote
it's-
on it, what, next week?
Yeah, you're not passing anything
Yeah.
tonight.
Okay.
You have a week to research it and think about it, and we'll discuss it at the voting meeting
Okay, thank you.
next week. In the interim, maybe Bonnie can research the minutes and confirm. Okay. Items previously tabled, I don't think we have any. Section D, personnel. Mrs. Crump.
Thank you, Ms. Cerucci. We present for your approval for the February 28th, sections 1 through 6. Under resignations, we do have 2 resignations listed. One is for Kathy Laird. We want to congratulate her on her upcoming retirement. She has spent 16 years with the district, and at the end of June, she's going on a much-deserved retirement. As much as I tried to talk her into staying, I told her she still had till next week to change her mind. Under leave of absences, we present 4 names. Transfers, in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement, there are 6 transfers listed. Before the next meeting, we will have 1 or 2 more due to bids that are open and that will close tonight and I think in a couple days. For employment, we do have 1 substitute custodian listed. Under supplemental contracts, we have resignations and issuances for the fall sports. And under 6, we have some volunteers, and we do have a couple extra names that we will have on to present to you for next week.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for
Yes.
Mrs. Crump? Go ahead, Val.
If it's possible for right now, I'd like to table the positions for the cheerleading at the high school and at the junior high. There's some issues that came to my attention, and Mr. Lapsovich and I met with Mr. Rivesti today regarding this, and I just wanted to have a little bit more further discussion on this, whether it's an executive session or not. So if we could just possibly put those
Okay.
on hold for right
You
now.
could make a motion at the voting meeting, because we're not going to vote on it tonight.
Okay.
It's just for discussion to table it next week.
Okay.
Is there any questions on any of the others from anybody? Okay, seeing none. Conferences and conventions, section E. Is that you, Mr. Shaky?
Mr. Ritchie, we do have 4 conferences, well, actually 5 conferences and conventions up for approval on February 28th. One for Joe DiLucente, going to the English as a Second Language Conference. Mr. Naresborough to a Motivating Hard to Reach Students Conference. Mr. Rivesti attending the PA State Athletic Directors Conference. And Ms. Pastor and Ms. Kunich going to the PA State Speech and Language Association Conference.
Okay, any comments or discussion? Seeing none. Section F, administrative resolutions.
Dr. Rossi? This is an action item to put on for 30-day public display, revised policy 918, which is a Title I parent involvement policy. We just got a revised monitoring instrument that requires that we take a look at this. And the monitoring's in May, so we wanted to get it on today.
Item number 2, Mr. Shaw.
Dr. Short. Items number 2 and 3 are related. The reason why we had to actually do these this evening as an action item because they could not wait till the 28th. There's some required paperwork that our 2 real estate tax collectors need to have submitted to Allegheny County prior to March 1st. So that's the reason why we're bringing these forward. But these are typical when we have reappointment of tax collector. Items number 2 is approve the purchase and payment for a 4-year real estate tax collector bond in the bond coverage amount of $10 million for the municipality of Monroeville real estate tax collector Patrick Fulkerson in the to-be-determined premium amount to be split on a pro rata basis between the district and the municipality of Monroeville based on the current real estate tax mills of each taxing entity in effect at the time of bond issuance. And item number 3 is approve the purchase and the continuation of the annual payments for a 5-year real estate tax collector bond in the bond coverage amount of $427,000 for the Borough of Pitcairn real estate tax collector Sally DeRobio from Western Surety Company through to HDH Group, Inc., in annual premium amounts to be split on a pro rata basis between the district and the Borough of Pitcairn based on the current real estate tax mills of each taxing entity in effect at the time of bond issuance. And for the district, that equates to the amount of $927.27 through January 1st, 2021. And finally, item number 4 for action is to approve and authorize the attached list of district employees as depicted in Exhibit B to use and/or be responsible for the use of their assigned district procurement card per the terms and conditions contained in Board Policy Number 625, procurement cards. The reason why we're bringing this forward as an action item this evening is that one of the procurement cards is for the Gateway High School Musical Department, and we want them to be able to utilize that card since they're in the process of buying items for their set construction.
Okay. Can I have a motion for Section F, items 1 to 4?
So moved.
Second?
So second.
Thank you, John. John seconded that, Bonnie.
And that was Steve motion, right?
Thank you, Steve. Go ahead.
Mr. Gottman?
Aye.
Dr. Kalkstein?
Aye.
Mr. Lapsevich?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Section G, resolutions presented by board members.
We have Section F. B. I have Section F.
Administrative
Oh, sorry.
resolutions.
I skipped one. Section F, administrative resolutions. Mr. Short.
Dr. Rossi, items number 1, and then Dr. Chaky could take items number 2, and Mr. Shaw could take item number 3.
Okay, the first one is the final approval of the science textbooks as listed below. They have been on for 30-day public display.
And for item number 2, we have 3 facility agreements, one with Gateway Band Boosters, Gateway Midget Football for the Gateway High School Stadium, and also Mossad Middle and Backfield.
Item number 3, this is an annual resolution for approval. This would be to approve the 2018-2019 fiscal year Allegheny Intermediate Unit Number 3's Program of Services budget. The total budget for 18-19 is $2,086,109 and reflects an overall increase of $52,105 or 2.56% in overall expenditures. The total district allocation by state subsidy withholding for 18-19 for all Allegheny County school districts is $1,765,288, reflecting a decrease of $69,910 or 3.81% from the 17-18 budget. The district share of the allocation by state subsidy withholding for 18-19 will be determined by the Pennsylvania Department of Education according to the district's aid ratio and weighted average daily membership. The district share currently estimated for 18-19 is $70,024, and that's depicted in Exhibit A.
Continue on.
Next, item number 4, again, is another annual approval. This one is for the IDEA Part B Use of Funds Subgrant Agreement, also with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit 3 for the 18-19 fiscal year, as listed, and that is also depicted in Exhibit B. Item number 5 is an associated resolution. It is the attachment A, notice of adoption of policies, procedures, and use of funds by school district of the Allegheny Intermediate Unit Number 3, IDEA Part B, for the 2018-2019 fiscal year. That is depicted in Exhibit C. And the next item is for the Allegheny Intermediate Unit Number 3 Educational Services Agreement for the 18-19 fiscal year. That's depicted in Exhibit D. Please note, the district is not obligated to purchase the special education services from the Allegheny Intermediate Unit Number 3. The Educational Services Agreement includes the terms and conditions related to the services the district decides to purchase. Next, item number 6 is the approval of the extension of preventive maintenance service agreement with Train USA, Inc. for the chiller and building automated systems located at the high school and at the Ramsey Elementary School, and approval of the discounted year one prepayment. Specifically, it's for Train USA for a 3-year period beginning November 1st, 2017 through October 31st, 2020, in the following amounts. Year 1 is $10,184. Year 2, $10,591. And year 3, $11,015. And approve the discounted year 1 prepayment to Train as depicted in Exhibit E. And that would be at a 3% discount. Item number 8 is for the extension and continuation of a service agreement with CM Eichenlob Company for the required telescopic bleacher safety inspection services in the sports complex, Gateway High School, Gateway Middle School, and Mosside Middle School gymnasiums for a total amount of $4,443.60 during the 1920, 2021, and 21-22 fiscal years, as depicted in Exhibit F. And there's some, just wanted to note, there's some savings with entering into a 3-year inspection agreement as indicated in the note, as opposed to going to a year-to-year inspection service agreement with CM Eichenlob. Item number 9 is approve addendum number 1 for the continuation of the curtailment services agreement with Energy Curtailment Specialists and Compiero Energy LLC, doing business as Clear Choice Energy, previously dated December 6, 2012, and NRG Curtailment Solutions, Inc., for the Electricity Demand Response Program services for the enrollment period of June 1st, 2018 through May 31st, 2019 via the Power Pay Program Addendum Number 1 as depicted in Exhibit G. And just to give an idea of what this is, the district, and I'm going to say we've probably been in this now for probably close to 10 years, essentially for doing a 1-hour test each summer, because we've been very fortunate there hasn't been any actual brownouts or anything that's really required us to shut down. But again, it happens during the summer months, the chances of that occurring, which we're not in session, which helps us with that. But for the most recent year that's actually going to be expiring here on May 31st, 2018, the district is expected to receive a total of $23,698.02. So not too bad for essentially an hour's worth of grief and aggravation.
Pretty good. It's a pretty good hourly rate.
Okay. And next item is to acceptance of district donation received. Again, this was previously referenced, I believe it was last month. The remaining 50% of the student meals by Bruce Dyson Associates in the amount of $2,013.75. Again, previously donated $1,970 for the first 50% of the paid student meals in January 2018. That was for the student meals paid during the state football championship game. So, thank you, Mr. Dice.
Thanks, Mr. Lance.
Thank you, Mr. Dice.
And finally, the final item for review this evening is approve Valerie Warning as a replacement signatory/delegate to serve as the district's representative on the Tri-Cog Land Bank as part of the Land Bank School District Advisory Committee in accordance with the requirements and responsibilities as outlined in the intergovernmental cooperative agreement creating and organizing the Tri-Cog Land Bank. And again, the above new district representative is necessary to replace the district's former signatory and delegate, Chad Stubenboard.
Thanks, Val, for volunteering to do that. Go ahead, George.
Can I ask a question to Mr. Brown on this chiller?
Floor's yours.
Mr. Brown, how old is the chiller system now?
That went in 2004. It didn't go in with the original construction of the sports complex. So
Okay.
It was 04 that it's gone in.
Okay, what is like the life expectancy of them?
Well, it varies, depends on, we don't, our use of it is actually limited since we're not in school for part of the year. The system itself is more of a shell. It's the
Yeah.
components that make it up that make it work. So it could last for many, many years. It's not like the dehumidification where it's,
Yeah.
in inclement weather that really hurts it. So as long as we keep up with it and keep it clean and, you know, just like the car, it'll last for many years to come.
And you feel this is a good thing to keep on with these
Absolutely,
contracts?
because the more we keep it, now this is not just for the chiller, this is also for all the control systems that we had just instituted. The price had gone down from the last contract because of putting in all the new systems. So having these people, any dollars we save is tremendous. If you just call out a service rep without basically a warranty or a contract, you're gonna pay quite a bit more to have them here.
Okay, thank you. And Bruce, thank you. I know you don't do it for everybody, but goodness of your heart for our football players and our students of Gateway. And as part of the board, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, but, you know, they had a heck of a season. And, you know, that's as far as they've ever gone, and I'm proud to be part of that.
Would you like us to invite the boys over to your house for a cookout this summer? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'd rather come to the
Hamburgers,
Christmas
hot
party. I'd
dogs.
rather come to Christmas party.
Those boys can eat, you know?
I'm not saying the boys, I'm saying me.
Does anyone else have any questions on section F?
No, thank you.
All right, section G, resolutions by board members.
Last section wasn't an action item?
Section G, is that yours?
None of that was action item? Or we just-
No,
No.
this is a study session, no action items.
The Gateway Board of Directors asked for the business manager to advertise an RFP, request for proposal, as it relates to marketing and selling of Gateway Middle School property. The board is aware that a group has been previously approved at the April 18th, 2017 regular board meeting. However, for the sake of transparency, the board believes an RFP would allow for all interested companies to submit a proposal for the board to review. So moved.
Just for discussion, does anybody have any questions or comments they would like to ask Mr. Donald or Mr. McIntyre? This is
We're
your-
not voting on this tonight?
No, we're not voting on this tonight. This is
Okay.
a study session. We can discuss it tonight.
Okay.
Does anybody want to discuss?
I just
Nothing?
have a question. We have our intergovernment gathering at Gateway Middle School on the 27th. Our meeting's the 28th. Am I correct? I was hoping the 360 would be able to attend this in case there was any questions. So how does that stand for them? That them showing up if any questions, so that's just gonna be like put on hold then? Or, I mean, I think they're a major factor in this.
Well, I think we still continue with the process, meaning that they were approved at the April board meeting. The question comes in about the contract, which we will, of course, investigate and get back to all board members. Moving forward with the meeting next week, I feel we have to keep
I
moving.
mean, should they still, I feel, you know, with everything they have done, any questions that anybody might have from the public, they would be in a position to answer them, should they be there or not?
Mr. Dice?
I think they should be there. You know, until Rick's request is acted upon, they're acting under the guise of the contract that was
The good faith
executed.
rules, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, Steve? All right, thank you.
I want everybody to understand, you're putting them in a precarious situation, but that's life in the fast track. That's what everybody gets paid a lot of money for.
This could have been avoided if things had been done maybe more procedurally, accurately, more transparently a year ago. You know, if the contract had come before the board and got voted on, I don't think any of this is even a discussion at this point. But since we don't currently have an actual legal binding contract with them, I think we're not serving our community and the taxpayers and the people, you know, that voted for us if we don't look at all the options available. You know, this is like you've even said, Steve, like a 2-year-long process we're going through here at a minimum. I don't think there's any any need to keep rushing, or to feel like, pumping the brakes, taking a step back and saying, hey, we like 360. I like their presentation. I was very impressed. And it's not about them not being qualified. It's about us having as many options on the table as possible before we make the decision. That's going to be a $300-some thousand contract.
Anybody? All right, so what's procedurally, Building and Grounds Committee didn't break anything procedurally because it's not required that they put this out to bid. But what Mr. McIntyre is saying is coming in as a new board member, he felt that it should be looked at by multiple people. So just to kind of explain what this conversation is about, is that, the board, the Building and Grounds Committee recommended the 360 group. The contract was presented and signed off on. However, perhaps it wasn't board approved. We have to determine that through the minutes to see if the board actually voted on the actual contract. And if they didn't, what do we do? Do we vote yes on, it's up to the board, the majority of the board, to suspend that contract and talk to some other companies to make sure we've made the right decision, or the board votes no, they want to keep moving forward with the 360 group. So there's a couple of things that the board has to think about and talk about over the next week and weigh in your own minds, because Mr. Dice is correct. We already have a good faith agreement with a company, and we put them in a precarious position. And sometimes, as you've said in the past, it's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. But again, Mr. McIntyre also brings up some very good points. When we, chose this company 10 months ago, we didn't have a lot of interest. Now it's coming to the surface. There's a lot of people in the community discussing the sale of the property. And, is it fair for him to say, when you're selling a $10 to $20 million piece of property, could be the biggest decision the school board makes in the 4 years that you're in service here? Do you want to make sure that you've talked to all the players and that you're working with the best person? Absolutely. So, go ahead, Mr. Lepsovich.
I could see Mr. McIntyre's concerns on this, but like I said previously, a couple of weeks ago, if we start opening stuff that I wasn't happy with previous boards before I come on here, we could be here forever and not get anything done. No new business at all. And that's my main concern. Whatever decision they made, I was part of it, and there was 8 other people who was part of it, that they okayed this. Okay, I can't say okayed it, but they knew the 360 group was coming in. That's my only concern, because anymore we're talking about 360 group, but I'm not hearing anything about education anymore. That's what's disturbing me. So that's the only thing I have to say.
Well, part of this board's responsibility is to oversee the financial position of the school district and to make sure that we're a watchdog of the taxpayers' money.
Yeah, and
So-
I'm a taxpayer.
But it is part
As
of
well
our
as
job
anybody else,
to
yeah.
do both.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. The board is a 9-member body, and 5 votes will control the decision. So I hope everybody, if they have any questions, that they will address those and think about those the next week. Number 2, whose item is number 2? Rescind previously approved fee schedule?
Yes, we had some issues in the past. So previously, we had a resolution to have ticket prices for Gateway Middle School and Gateway High School non-athletic performances for $3 at non-athletic at the high school and $2 at Gateway Middle School. I want to rescind that and make a new school fee schedule, which we had talked about at the policy meeting, approve the following fee schedule for Gateway High School athletic events. This is just for the athletic events. The adult price would be $6 and student prices would be $3.
Let me ask a question. Did this come out of your policy committee?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did discuss this.
Gotcha. Okay. So the recommendation is 6 and 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
I have a question. So
Only one.
if we're looking to make the tickets $6 and $3, what were they before?
They were 6 and 3. They were 6 and 3.
They're the
This,
same.
it was just never stated in a policy what
Oh,
it
okay.
was. The thing was, when they came to the gate, the students, which has option to purchase during the lunch periods at a cheaper price, they are also gonna be charged $6. But at the gate, this is gonna be $3 now at the gate.
Okay.
Item number 4.
Thank you. Okay, number 4, the sale of obsolete school equipment. The approval to sell obsolete school equipment by way of advertising on the district website. If sales do not go as expected, items will be advertised in the newspapers. This came about with the sale of technology equipment that they have done. Before, they used to put out a blast to students, which it was not the board's recommendation. It was, so during the policy meeting, Mr. Michael Brown came up with this, and it was agreed upon at the policy committee with this, and this is our policy that we would like to put into effect.
Is this legal, Mr. Dice, to advertise on the district website? I know we have some legal requirements of advertising to the entire community, and the entire community may not have access or look at the Gateway School District website. What's your legal opinion?
Yeah, I have some problem with that. Did you guys discuss that?
Yes, we did.
That was not, my memory is a little punch drunk from a lot of concussion, but, I don't remember that being what we actually decided. I thought we were gonna say we wanted to get it out to as wide of a net as possible.
What we need to
That
do
we
is
were
to
gonna
get
do
it
the
to
website
parents.
and the newspaper, and then that we should be covered.
Yeah, I'm personally not comfortable with just the website.
Is Micah out there? Here
Micah?
he comes.
Always watching.
He's coming. Mr. Dice, isn't it our legal obligation to advertise the entire community?
Yeah, I don't think advertising on the internet meets the requirements of your obligation to give notice to the public of a sale. I think that it's to a select group that have computers.
Yeah.
And I think that traditionally, it has been the case that newspapers have been used as a means of advertising for public sale in the form of an auction. So.
Okay.
So it's your legal recommendation that we advertise in the newspaper and that be part of our policy?
Yeah, and it can be.
Newspaper and website.
Yeah, you can do the website, I want you to do the newspaper.
Mary Beth, what newspaper, because they don't get the Times Express or anything in Pick here no more. So there's really nothing we can have, that's
Well,
what,
there's an online
So, you know, the
Post-Gazette. and
statute-
there's
what's
a-
that?
There's an online Post-Gazette and an online Tribune.
But how about if they
Review.
don't have a computer? There's people down there that can't, a lot of them people can't afford a computer down in
So
Pitcairn.
you're aware, the statute talks about
You know
a
what I mean?
newspaper of general circulation, so, you know, if the Post-Gazette is a newspaper of general circulation, that's what I'd use.
It's a matter of meeting the legal requirement.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Shop,
If I could, I would ask permission to go back, and I could kind of tweak this resolution a little bit to kind of mirror when we go out to bid, where we state that it'll be advertised bids in the Post-Gazette, which is actually the eastern section for that, as well as to meet our second requirement of 2 newspapers. We've typically been utilizing the Greensburg Tribune Review, but we would also advertise on the district website as well. We typically do like the 3-prong advertising
That's
with that.
exactly what you should.
that's what I thought we walked away from
That
the
you-
policy
Okay.
meeting.
So
I'll
item
change
4
it to
needs to be
reflect that.
revised
And,
by
should there
next week.
be,
My mother was confused about.
should there be language in this reflecting that the sales of this equipment is for members of the community first? No? Isn't that something we agreed on?
Yeah, we did, we talked about
We
that.
absolutely agreed on that, because we were selling to the teachers before the community members could get there. I thought that's something that
I'd like to
we,
toss the question to Mr. Dice.
If we would just contact the parents of students, that wouldn't be sufficient, because there are more people involved in the district than just the parents of students. Right. Number 2, some of the people in the district are teachers who don't live in the district.
but we're not, that's
So
what I'm
if we
saying,
just,
community members. I'm
right,
sorry.
so if we just contacted the people via the schools mechanism, then some of the teachers who do not live in the district and do not pay taxes in the district, they would be one of the first ones to know and be able to come and take advantage of a sale that, by rights, should go to the people who are in the district who pay taxes. Therefore, I think it's proper that we find a non-electronic means.
I think you follow Paul's advice.
Paul's advice,
Yeah.
I recommend we follow Paul's advice.
Right.
Because
our
he's already
attorneys.
thought
And the
this.
wrong approach, I agree, Paul. You shouldn't treat this any different than any other bidding that we do.
Right.
Paul, you will draft that up for the
Yep,
next meeting.
I will make that
Thank
change
you.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Now, question here, Micah, before you leave. With some of the, like what we have left now, with the computers that we have left and any electronic equipment, is it feasible to advertise in the paper for the cost for what we have left to get back?
I would think so.
You should speak up there because the people at home can't see you.
What do you mean, is it feasible?
In other words, do we have this much to sell, but it's gonna cost this much?
Yeah, we have one eye.
It doesn't matter. You're missing the point. It's the law. We have to be in compliance with the law. I don't care if it costs us more than we get out of it. If we're breaking the law, we can't break the law.
Well, an option would be, I think maybe what Val's going for is if we don't have enough to make it worthwhile to advertise to sell, we hold it until we do, and then we advertise and sell.
Build a bucket, right.
And we have enough, I think it would be worthwhile to
Okay.
go through the process.
All right, thanks, Micah.
Thank you, Micah. All right, anything else on section G? All right, comments from residents on non-agenda items? Anyone,
Sign up.
does anyone like to address the board on a non-agenda item? None?
Here's your
Okay.
chance, John, you can yell at all of us at once.
I'm going to excuse myself.
Do you have something, Mrs. Spade?
Heather Major, 1332 Foxborough Drive. With the recent events in Florida, is there any reason why we haven't had any active shooter drills in any of the schools?
We have one scheduled for April. It was on the calendar before the actual shooting occurred. That is something that we do regularly.
Yes, there's a PDE requirement that states once per year for that. We've also had a number of internal, external lockdown drills within the buildings as well.
What buildings?
I did speak with Mr. Jack. He confirmed that he has had those at the beginning of the year.
I'll tell you what, I would suggest that if you want any more additional detail about what those things are, why don't you talk to the individuals? I don't know that we want to publish where we're doing lockdowns and.
No, I'm just asking, I thought that was like one of the goals of having our own school police force. So that we can do things like this. Since being a teacher at Gateway Middle School, I don't remember ever having a drill. So that's why I'm asking.
Did you speak with Mr. Telly?
I did not. I didn't
Perhaps
know
you
he
could
was-
start there.
Okay, so he's in charge of,
Mhm.
okay, did not know that. With mental health is such a big issue, I think the board needs to look at, and I know it's gonna cost money, but we need more social workers in this district. We had a kid at the high school that was just arrested, we had a kid at my building that was suspended for 45 days. I don't know what happened with the Milestones group that used to be in our buildings, so I'm not pointing any fingers, I just don't know what happened to them, but I think mental health is such a big issue that we don't have enough resources in this district to help the students with the issues that they have. So,
Thank you, as always.
okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to reports. Mr. Short, would you like to go first?
Yes. First and foremost, the incident in Florida has affected each and every one of us. As a father myself, I always look towards the school district providing a safe and healthy place to educate our children. And rest assured, in this community, in our school district, I've had a number of emails from our parents questioning what we have in place. A lot of the information I will provide on the email, or I should say the district website tomorrow morning, listing specifics about what we do offer and really assist our children in preparing for a horrific or tragic situation such as Florida. These things are not easy. The communication piece is essential, that if there is something out there, either on social media, overheard within the community, students hearing something within the classroom or the cafeteria, everyone has an obligation to inform. And that means contact the principal of the building. We do have on our district website a tip line, anonymous tip line that could report information. Please call the district office if you hear or see anything. We will continue to evaluate and assess our measures as far as school safety. We have been on the cutting edge of hiring our own Gateway School Police 2 years ago when it was met with criticism. However, the phone calls we've received as a district from many school districts across the Commonwealth inquiring about how they can go about making this change shows that we have been proactive in securing the safety and welfare of our kids. I apologize for my voice, a little under the weather tonight, but rest assured, we will be vigilant. We will be increasing our drills above and beyond what's required by the state and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chakey, do you have anything this evening?
No, perfect.
Dr. Rossi?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Shawn?
Thank you. Actually, I'm just going to repeat what I had said at the start of the meeting again, just to get it out there. The Budget and Finance Committee meeting for this Thursday, February 22nd, 2018 has been canceled. The first meeting will occur on March 15th, 2018 at 6 p.m. in the high school LGI. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Crum?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Mr. Ritter?
Sure, 4 things. The PSBA, the Pennsylvania School Board Association, has some events that they're offering to help educate the board members as to what the state is doing, what the legal matters are, what our role should be, how we should best prepare for, what we do here. And so on Monday, the 27th, they'll be evaluating the Commonwealth Education Blueprint. About 2 months ago, some of us got together in Harrisburg and hammered out some sort of a vision that's going to be rolled out over the next 1 to 3 years. And we cherry-picked all the things that we thought were worth putting on the table for thought. We polished some of the language. They took the minutes of those, polished them some more, and they're sprinkling about 10 events all over Pennsylvania. We've got 2 coming up in our area. The closest one to us will be next Monday in the Carnegie area. And so I sent the board a note recommending that we all go out and learn what those hot topics are and what the rest of the state thinks about, because we think a little differently here on our end of the state than others do in different spots of the state. So we need to add our 2 cents to this Common Education Blueprint. The way to do it is to put your boots on the ground and go there and show up and speak. Okay, number 2, there's a spring legal roundup that's going to be held a little later that day, next week, at the same place. So they're going to talk about many things: special education, school meals, weapons, right to know law, demotions, drug testing. There's about 20 items that are hot topics that have had legal updates that the board should be informed about. So please, if you can, attend that. Number 3, 2 days from now, no, tomorrow, there's going to be a broadcast by some folks from the PSBA regarding the trouble that's occurred in Puerto Rico. The state has a mandate to educate its students. What happens when you don't even have a school, when you don't have water, when the teachers can't drive on the roads because there are no more roads? And you still have a mandate to educate students. So this is like the worst case, and some places in Puerto Rico still don't have electricity. All right, these are US citizens, right? So trying to put my generalized hat on, I think, what can we do in our little corner of the world here in association with the other school districts, 500 school districts in Pennsylvania, to see if there's something we can do. I don't know. I don't know. So they're going to have a 1-hour conference call. I think it would be good for us to get on and each of us ask the questions. What can we do, if anything, to help? I don't know, send some teachers down there, invite some kids up, send money down, do a fundraiser. I don't know. but it's worth us investigating, and it shows who we are as a board. If we really care about the kid, if we really care about the kids, it shouldn't be just our kids in our district. It should be the neighboring districts as well, because, for example, drugs go into neighboring districts, they come into our districts and vice versa. So we have to think more globally than locally, and it shows who we are. And it helps prepare, it helps the students and the parents and the staff to know that their board is not so tunnel-focused on just our little corner of the world, that the rest, we are citizens of the rest of the world as well. This is one way we get to show that, by showing up, listening, and seeing if there is anything we can do. And if there isn't, that's okay. Our turn will come where we will be able to find something we can do. So, number 4, yesterday, there was an in-service meeting while the rest of the world had the day off. There were teachers and the maintenance workers and everyone else. I'm sorry, am I jumping ahead?
No.
They came and they heard a couple different presentations regarding diversity awareness, suicide awareness, and mandated reporter training. Boy, oh boy. I've taken a bunch of these courses a bunch of times. Yesterday was one of the best eye-opening sessions that I've been to in a long time. The people who talked about suicide awareness, they had suicides in their own families. And towards the end of the discussions, some of those, heartfelt sentiments came pouring out. And so it helped the people in the audience, me and the teachers, understand what to look for, what those signs are of trouble, and what to do about it. So that was one. Number 2, mandated reporter training. There are some things that maintenance workers get to see that teachers don't get to see. And so we talked about what should maintenance workers or cafeteria workers do in order to help identify students who are troubled and just move that issue along to the right person so that the kid can get the help that they need. So this was an eye-opener. I really liked it. Mrs. Crump, you had a big hand in putting this team together of speakers, so thank you very much for doing that.
No, gentleman down there, I just did the mandated reporter training, but thank
So
you.
you're giving her all the credit too?
Not at all.
Okay, that's fine, but great job, staff. The staff did this. I got to peek a little bit.
Mr. Ritter, thank you for showing up, because you were able to see firsthand all of the work that goes into the planning and preparation of an in-service.
See, I ask sneaky questions, like I said, a teacher gets to see kids misbehaving in class, but isn't it true that the maintenance workers, they get to see what's happening? They open the door in the bathroom and they see that, a puff of smoke comes out, so the teacher might not know the kids are smoking, but the maintenance workers do.
It doesn't
Isn't
happen
that
here
true?
anymore.
And the maintenance workers are all, they're biting their lips and saying, Mr. Ritter, you don't even know the things that we see that, And so, thank you very much for putting all that together, staff. That's
Thank
all
you,
I have.
John.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Mrs. Warning.
I'm going to excuse myself after I'm done here because I want to get to the basketball game at Fox Chapel for our boys. They're in the playoffs. But just 2 things. Mrs. Crump, I thought Mrs. Bungard was going to be here this evening, but I had several requests from different schools. If they could provide QBS training for the paraprofessionals, it's getting to a point where only a few in the schools know how to use that. So if they could put together an in-service for them. If you could-
And they have done one, and we are scheduling one in the future.
Okay, if they could put that faster if possible, because they're very slim at some of the schools. And,
This morning, I did inform Mrs. Bungard, she had an appointment already scheduled tonight
Okay.
with her child, so.
okay, all right. February 10th, I was invited to the father-daughter dance that University Park had for their fathers and daughters. And it was very emotional to me because the last time I danced with my dad was at my wedding. And parents, fathers, there's just one thing. If I could get another dance, another walk with my dad, I'd play a song that would never ever end, and how I'd love to dance with my dad again. So every time that you have an opportunity to do something with your children, it's a big thing because it doesn't go away. So with that, I'm going to exit.
Thanks, Val. It was
You
nice.
can make us cry when we leave.
Well, it's been hard.
Mr. Lapsevich.
Yeah, thank you. I just got 2 comments to Mr. Yeager. Thank you for your heartwarming thanks and overwhelming support you gave to our school. And also, Mr. Short, I have a question for you from my wife. She was one of the people that addressed the Arcan to come in, Narcan to come into buildings. Okay, she told me after so long, it's got to be circulated because it gets old. So she was wondering, it's been a year now, if it's been circulated or thrown out or whatever the hell to do with it.
And I can speak with our nursing staff and determine,
Okay,
we do have a few here.
thank you.
But I'll talk to them tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. O'Donnell?
I'd like to begin by thanking John for, going to Harrisburg and working on a lot of these issues with PSBA that are important to us as a school district. And frequently, it doesn't get the attention and the sort of the spotlight that, for example, my committee gets because we work on toilets and urinals. So appreciate that, we really do. I also want to make a comment regarding security and safety. While Dr. Short's going to send a communique out via the website tomorrow, I think it's important for parents and students who are listening this evening to know that long before this incident occurred, which is terribly tragic, the previous board had undertaken a series of initiatives to help ensure that our children are safe here in the district day in and day out. Now, having said that, folks have got to understand that we're not going to advertise, we're not going to talk about the kinds of initiatives that we have taken, but I think it is important for you to know that, that we have indeed looked at a whole series of issues and taken action. I would also like to ask the administration, and if you want this in the form of a resolution, I can make the resolution tonight. But I'd like the administration to contact the appropriate sources, which perhaps might include our accounting firm, Pennsylvania Taxing Bureau, to determine how we can go about securing tax credits for the utility savings that we've affected, the outside lights, the inside lights, the water, so on and so forth, and get back to us to, let us know what that process is. I know that some people, when we've had this conversation, I know that some people are going to say that because we are a not-for-profit organization that we can't use tax credits. Well, that's true. We don't pay taxes, so we don't use tax credits to offset as a for-profit corporation, but tax credits are like commodities. And I believe that we can explore the possibility of securing the credits and then selling them to the benefit of taxpayers, okay? So you want that in a resolution, or are we just, okay, you'll look in, you'll do that?
We'll look into it. I'll get with Bob Brown and Mr. Schott. and we
Yeah.
can-
Okay. And that's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. You ever get a chance? Did I say so?
No, I'm satisfied. Everything's been covered.
Mr. McIntyre?
I'll be brief. I just wanted to take a moment to recognize a Gateway student athlete. Forgive me, the last name is Neuendorfer. Madison Neuendorfer is a 15-year-old sophomore at Gateway. It's the second year that she's played varsity soccer for Gateway, which is fairly impressive as a freshman to come in and be playing varsity. I understand she was named all-section despite missing, I think, 10 games with a concussion.
Wow.
Which is an impressive stat. She was recently offered an opportunity to represent U.S. youth soccer in Costa Rica, which is, as her mother said in the email telling us, that's kind of a trip of a lifetime for a 15-year-old kid to be able to represent her country, represent, in a way, her school district. The Gateway's listed in the program. In a foreign country, and get to see the culture, and they're visiting the capital, and it just sounds like a wonderful experience and a wonderful opportunity. It sure is, and to go there and be playing in that level of a soccer tournament is really extraordinary. And I also understand she has already had a verbal commitment to a soccer scholarship with Duquesne University as a sophomore. So this kid's pretty impressive. And if it pleases the board, I'd like to, whenever she comes back from the trip and, gets settled and gets her collective self together, I'd like to see her maybe come and speak to the board and tell us about the trip and her experiences there.
I believe she's an honor roll student.
Yeah, I think that's something her mother mentioned as well. So, I mean, she really seems like she's got, all of her stuff together, and I'd love to hear from her and hear about her experience. So,
We'll get her on the student.
other than that, I'd like to just personally thank the administration and the members of the Gateway Police Department for their diligent work the past week with, everything that's gone on. You guys always seem to be right on point, a step ahead, if not just right on time. And I appreciated having one child. And oh yeah, I can. It's Facebook official now, so I can talk about it in public. I have a second child on the way, so who will also be a Gateway Gator. Well, she's afraid I'm going to meet the father.
He got you there.
So just as a board member, as a member of the community, and most importantly as a parent, I thank all of you. I thank the former board for doing what you guys did to get the police department put in place. And I thank the men and women that serve us on the Gateway Police Department. They do an excellent job. And I know I feel safe putting my child on the bus every morning. So thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Mr. Gottman.
Oh, I feel like I have to say something now, everyone else did. I just want to wish our basketball team the best of luck tonight in their game. It's always exciting when one of your teams is competing for a title, and it was really fun to watch our football team go for the title. And when you have two teams within your school competing like this, it's a lot of fun and instills a lot of pride to be a former Gateway grad. That's all I got.
That's right.
Thank you.
Jesse?
Yeah, I just want to take a minute to congratulate someone that works tirelessly for this district and has for many years, and that is Mrs. Bonnie Isha. She recently welcomed her first grandchild into the world. February 7th, 2 weeks ago, just about. Her daughter Amanda gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, Mila Catherine Matsey.
Yes.
Her daughter Amanda and her husband Kevin live in Monroeville, so as it stands now, Mila will be a Gateway Gator one day, so that's awesome. And I know all this because Amanda and Kevin are dear friends of mine, and they're also Gateway graduates, so I've known them for many years.
Thank you.
So congrats to Bonnie,
Thank
the Isha family, and the Matsey family.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have an hour or two.
After we adjourn. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Do you have a report?
From your corner of the world?
Okay. I would like to wish Scotty Williams, who's not here tonight, good luck. He's recovering from some dental work, which is why I was running the meeting this evening. And I would like to congratulate Kathy Laird on her retirement, because she was a secretary at Ramsey where my children attended, and she was a great lady to work with, and I'm sure she will be greatly missed. So with that, a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? We're adjourned.
Thank you, Jesse. That was nice.